Before you go and grab your cup of coffee, think about this. Have I drunken any water yet today? Is this medium iced caramel coffee with almond milk really worth it? Does it do any good for my body? Well, the point is, how does caffeine really affect our bodies? Does it do more harm than good? Is that $5 Starbucks drink really worth it? The headache you get when you haven't drunken coffee or an energy drink yet, that's your body telling you it relies on it. This is almost like an addiction. The purpose of this presentation is to help everyone understand what caffeine is and how it affects our bodies. This is an important topic to think about. Everyday things can turn to life-changing things, such as the cost of it and the significance it has on our bodies. Today you will learn something new, maybe something you haven't thought about. This topic is important to think about regarding health, cost, and overall how you feel with and without it. It may seem silly to talk about or think about, but I can assure you it is well worth listening. I will discuss what caffeine is, the effects of it, and my view on it. Now, let's dive into what caffeine is. Caffeine isn't just in coffee, it's in all sorts of foods, beverages, and supplements. Caffeine comes from a plant, then it is formed into a powder called trimethoprim. Caffeine is a stimulant drug, meaning it speeds up the process from your brain to your body. This is why we get a rush after drinking coffee or a pre-workout drink. The more you consume it, the more you will need to take it in order to get the same effects it had at first. Caffeine comes in all forms. According to the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, coffee is Arabica seed for the coffee, theosynthesis is used for tea, and so on. There are a few types of caffeine that is widely grown across America and the world. Coffee beans contain more caffeine than caffeinated tea, but tea is suggested to lower the caffeine intake you have. Think about this. You took a really good pre-workout drink. You're really pumped because you're going to hit that deadlift. All of a sudden, mid through your workout, you're sweating and you're so thirsty. According to exercise and sports science reviews, the diuretic effect of caffeine may exaggerate the declines that occur with plasma volume and stroke volume. Second, caffeine stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, and it may increase sweat rate. Third, caffeine increases resting metabolic rate in physically trained and sedentary individuals. This may increase heat storage and internal body temperature. This is a bad thing due to fluid imbalance and overall your heating of your body, which causes fainting and strokes potentially. Ever wonder, what is actually caffeine and why sometimes do I feel anxious or uneasy? Well, I'll tell you about that. You know what caffeine is. Now let's discuss what's wrong with it. Caffeine is overconsumed by many people around the world, in adults and children. We need to teach our children how the effects are bad for them, since their brain is still growing and processing. According to the Temple from Science Direct, claims caffeine use exaggerates the health conditions such as anxiety, insomnia, inconsistent, and stomach upset. This can be an everyday occurrence for someone who uses caffeine daily or overdoses on it. The daily dosage of caffeine should almost be 200 milligrams equal to a 12-ounce cup of coffee. Clearly, many children and adults overdo this limit. Caffeine disorders are very prevalent for people. This can result in migraines, tiredness, nausea, low sociability, and much more. According to Higgins from Science Direct, claims, unlike addictive substances, most caffeinated products don't have a legal age. Requirements for purchase or consumption have multiple studies recommended that energy drinks need to be targeted now, available or consumed by adolescents. This is an issue for teens who consume caffeine at a young age. There are no restrictions, such as alcohol and other substances, for caffeine, which is crazy. Finally, let's talk about my thoughts on caffeine and how to cut back. I think caffeine is okay in moderation. Don't get me wrong, I drink a lot of coffee and other forms of caffeine, such as energy drinks, but I definitely have to cut back. I've done my own research in this and having to cut back myself. Ever since cutting back on caffeine, I've definitely had more energy, I've had less headaches, but also they went away after a couple of days when I was withdrawing from caffeine. According to CNN, the key recommendation for people who have suggested cut back on caffeine is to do this over a period of weeks and months. Sweeney said, if you're drinking 4 cups of coffee a day, you may reduce it by 1 cup per week. You might also substitute 1 cup with caffeine and a blend of some other decaffeinated coffee, she said. Also, another suggestion is to try some tea or some other alternative with less caffeine. I will definitely take these suggestions into account as I go about changing my lifestyle without caffeine. And those who say caffeine is good may say you have more energy, speeds up your fat burning, and lowers risk of certain diseases. We're looking into those, but also let's think about the effects it has on our bodies overall. Caffeine is in a lot of foods, drinks, and supplements without even noticing, so try to recognize when you're consuming some types of caffeine. Notice what caffeine is and to properly hydrate yourself. Many adolescents and adults appear to overconsume caffeine, for sure, so it's important to have the right amounts of it, as well as realizing when your body is overly reacting for it, such as no sleep and anxiety, which are big prevalent suggestions to cut back on caffeine. And it's important to evaluate and listen to your body. Also, now that I have cut back, I am feeling more energized and less migraines due to not having caffeine. A small difference can go a long way. For many, just take the little steps to reach this goal. I am sure you feel the same. If you want to feel more energized, less groggy, less anxious, and overall feel good about yourself, you should give this a try. Thank you for watching.